Man, this is what everyone's looking for. I'm convinced. Everyone wants this, right? To end their suffering. What do I mean by suffering? Just to feel good in life. They don't want to feel bad. You know, society is not meant for us to feel good. It's meant for us to feel bad so we can buy things and do things and purchase things from people to feel good. Consumer society, right? And everyone's looking for the way out. And that is that takes infinite amount of forms. That's what I mean. We're all the same. We're all just looking for it through different various means, whether that's drugs, alcohol, companionship, women, men, relationships. If I just have this next hit, I'll feel good. Money, careers, jobs, prestige. If I just have the car, if I just have this, I'll feel good. Religion, spirituality, all of it. If maybe I can find my salvation in this. Religion's huge because just follow these steps. Just do what God says. Do what Allah says, and you'll be happy and at peace. Okay. I've always been really interested in those quotes, all the quotes and the readings of these major religious texts, because some of them are just written so simple, and it takes on a new meaning, I've found, as you advance with age and maturity. Anyways, now, but everyone's looking for that way out. Want to just be at peace. And what's interesting is most people are seeking it externally because it makes sense, right? If I just get this, I'll be happy. Even if you do get it, you might be happy for a little bit, but then you're not going to be happy. That's why if you do drugs or drink a lot, it's like your baseline always is needing to go up to get that next hit. It's how addiction starts. And addiction takes on many forms, like dopamine, your relationships, companionships. That's a big drug. Man, if I just have this person, I'll be, this person just makes me feel so good. Until they don't, and then you start to feel bad again because you already don't feel good about yourself. And quite frankly, you hate yourself. And then you blame it on that person. It just is what it is. And again, it's fine. I've done it. That's how I know. We've all been there, right? Now, what is the answer, though? Because that's another thing we all want in this society. We want the clear-cut answer. We want the guide. We want to just follow the 10-step protocol to get this. Now, what's hard about this, and this is going to freak a lot of people out probably when I say this with the semen retention thing. First of all, semen retention is the very first step that I found that can get you to this salvation, if you're, and this peace inside, the feeling of it's going to be okay regardless. But there is no just do this and this will happen type of thing with this kind of stuff, because everyone's individual karma is different. Everyone's got their little petri dish of individual life, I guess, prescribed things from God they got to get rid of first. Because contrary to popular belief, the suffering actually comes from you. It comes from inside of you. It's your ego, your traumas, fears, insecurities. It's the sense of self that you've developed since you were a kid, right? Your ego needs to be fed. You need certain life circumstances to be fit and to be, prescribed to you a certain way for you to be happy and at peace and feel stable. If it's not, you feel bad. You feel instability, and then that leads to suffering. We try to put that reality into this world, and then when it doesn't fit that reality, we suffer because of that. And so what does semen retention do? What is this path that we've talking about? Call it spirituality, personal development, it doesn't matter. This practice, if you will, coupled with semen retention and introspection. First of all, semen retention isn't, the quick ticket fix. Think of semen retention like the catalyst or the gasoline to the vehicle, right? The vehicle is introspection and humility. And so as you walk through life, you're going to be presented with certain situations that are going to trigger you emotionally. Now, a lot of people, what most people do is they either just avoid it because, we've been conditioned in this society to be like, well, I'm perfect. The world needs to change for me. Nothing's wrong with me. That feel good, like superficial part of, I guess, mental health awareness. It's like, nothing's wrong with you. You're perfect. Okay, that's cool. I get that. And I think that has its place in this world, right, for people. But when you do get those emotional triggers, which you inevitably will, right, the introspection allows you to catch that out. Be like, wait, okay, I'm getting triggered by this. Why am I getting triggered by this? Why? Oh, maybe this comes from my childhood. Okay, I'm aware. I'm aware that this isn't me talking. This is my ego talking because this is just how I've been conditioned. That's fine. For example, when someone might take too long to text you back, it's like, oh, your ego gets really mad. How dare they not text me back or not call me back right away? How dare they? Well, why does that bother you so much? Why is this causing you suffering? Wow. Figure that out, you know? Oh, maybe this stems from childhood when, maybe I got abandoned by someone, by a caregiver. And okay, I get triggered when I don't hear from someone a little bit, you know? Now, you might see it, right? But it's still going to cause you suffering. How do you let it go, though? How do you get to a point where that doesn't cause you suffering? You got to accept it. That requires a certain sense of humility. Not all of us are there not all of us are there for those certain times. I mean, heck, every major thing that I would say that I've let go of in life that's caused me enormous amounts of pain, discomfort, and suffering that's gotten in the way of my peace is wasn't ready to accept it yet. It's had too much of an identity wrapped around it. Now, what's cool about semen retention is, I've said this before, this practice, along with, taking care of yourself, eating healthy, exercising your body, creating that environment of stability, right? You create the environment first, and then and then it's naturally going to organically happen for you over time at the right time. As you raise your vibration, the things that don't align with that higher level vibration are slowly going to be let go of. They're going to be brought to the surface, and then when you can bring them to the surface, you can become aware of them and then later accept them when you're ready to accept them. Again, that requires it. You can't change anything until you're humble enough to accept it, that it's affecting you. And then you can let it go, and it'll be let go. Now, what's hard about this is that there's almost nothing you can do to let it go. It's let go when it's let go. That's what's hard about this. So it requires a lot of faith. It requires a lot of trust, but it also requires the understanding that just because you're feeling bad doesn't mean this is wrong. Quite the opposite. Spirituality is, people think that, they go to spirituality for all the feel good stuff and they avoid all the bad. That's the wrong answer. You don't want to run from how you're feeling or run from the realities of life. You want to use spirituality to uproot all that stuff. That's where the humility comes in. That's where the change comes in. Then you let it go. Now, as I said, this process is slowly deteriorating and letting go of your ego, transcending your ego and the things that cause you suffering. It's detachment, right? You can't not have an ego, a sense of self, because otherwise you wouldn't exist. You have to have that. But that doesn't mean you need to attach to it or let it affect you. So what I mean by letting go is maybe that stuff is still there. It just doesn't bother you. And there's different phases and layers of letting go. So maybe something kind of used to bother you a lot, and now it doesn't really do it anymore, and then eventually it might not. That's why age is such a beautiful thing, is because as you climb up in age, you kind of realize, like, wow, I'm not going to be here forever. So why am I worrying about this? And so, and underneath all of that is peace. Because when you're not affected by things anymore and you're not attached to things anymore, that is where the peace is. That's where the, I guess I hate to use the word salvation is, but it's kind of a funny word to use. I was talking to a buddy of mine, as I said, and this was a point in my journey where it was deep. I had it was probably literally the way I tired and exhausted doesn't even begin to phase it. Like life had prescribed me circumstances to where everything was just taken from me. My mental energy, emotional energy, my body was failing on me. Just everything was just not, I didn't have anything. Everything was being ripped away from me. There's an inner part of me that knew it was good, but in the moment it just felt so bad because I was just letting go of so much. An entire identity, an entire sense of this, an entire identity of who I thought I was. And it's so painful. Now, I was talking to my buddy of mine. He was in the same place, ironically. I had a good friend of mine. Thankfully, we still talk to this day, but he was in the same place. And I was just like, what do we do, man? I don't even have the energy to hope or to try to feel good. I don't even have the energy to do anything. My soul is just destroyed right now. And he was like, well, man, from what I understand is that if you're lucky, you can find that salvation inside of you. If God, gives you the grace to feel that. Not everyone, I guess, is, is going to experience that in their lifetime. There's some true believers, right? That those are the people I'm talking to, some true believers that are ready to really, truly let go of everything to find that. That's how you end the suffering, right? And it's funny is I can't even really describe it too much, like what the other side feels like. It's almost, consciousness, if you will, source, grace, God, all of that, really feeling the inner consciousness, God inside of you that's underneath all of that identity and ego, and identifying with that more. And it's hard because it's more of a feeling than it is something you can articulate or mentally wrap your mind around. Ironically enough, how does this pertain to everyone is like, ironically enough, like if you're really, that's when, it's like when you let go of the need for something external. It's like you want something you think is going to make you happy, right? You think everyone has that one thing. For me, and I think a lot of people can attest to this, for me, for the longest time, it was to have a companion and a great girlfriend and a partner and all this stuff. And then something finally clicked in me that all of this isn't going to make me ultimately happy. It might make me feel good for a little bit, but then it's going to make me feel bad again, because it's the duality of just being with someone. It's the tumultuousness of being with someone, letting that go. Truly, when it's time, you feel it authentically, letting that go. That's like when the universe or God sends you the one that is meant for you, but you're not basing your entire happiness. You don't need them so much. And that's when they come. And that's when it's truly like an honest and authentic relationship, because they click. Another one is maybe your attachment to your health and your body. Man, there's something that I have found that really, truly can wake you up, truly force you to suffer so you can let go of that suffering, is health problems. We all have them. No one has a perfect body. But yeah, could talk about it forever and talk about this stuff forever, but man, that's what we're all looking for. And I think it's really important when you realize that we're all the same and looking for the same thing, that you can just give each other a little bit more grace and give yourself some grace. This life that we're living isn't easy. Society is not meant to be easy. Sick. It's just a dopamine infestation, which is fine. It doesn't, it's not looking down on it. It just is what it is. It's realizing that we're all the same, though. So I hope everyone has a great day, and thanks for coming to my TED Talk on talking about a subject that really is just almost impossible to talk about. So I hope it articulated it enough for people to understand a little bit, because again, I know I'm not perfect. So If it clicks with you, cool. If not, I guess go find someone that you click with. Yeah, I hope everyone has a great day.